I want to tell you about 7 years. Not the summary version, not the highlight reel of friendship that you present when someone asks how you know each other. The actual 7 years, the accumulated weight of them, the specific texture of knowing someone the way you know the person who has been in the majority of your significant moments. I want to tell you about 7 years because the night that changed everything did not arrive in a vacuum. It arrived at the end of 7 years of building something that neither of us had the right name for. We called it friendship. We called it best friends. We called it the specific shorthand of two people who had been in each other's orbit since the first week of college and had not left those orbits since. I do not think either of those words was wrong. I think they were incomplete. The way a photograph is not wrong but is not the whole of the thing it captures. My name is Sam. I was 25 years old. My best friend's name was Ryan. He was 25 too. We had met at 19 in the specific chaos of college freshman orientation and had been whatever we were since. He was straight. Or he had told me he was straight. Or he had believed he was straight. I am not sure which of those sentences is most accurate. I have thought about it a lot in the time since the night. The answer I keep arriving at is, all three in sequence at different points in the 7 years. This is the story of the sequence. The University of Michigan, September. The specific chaos of move-in weekend, the parents with the boxes and the emotion, the raws with the lanyards and the optimism, the 2019-year-olds who were all in some version of the same state, terrified and performing the opposite. I was in room 312 in East Quad. Ryan was in 311. We met in the hallway between our rooms at 10 p.m. on move-in Saturday. He was coming back from the communal bathroom with his toiletry bag, and I was trying to figure out why my desk lamp was not working, and we looked at each other in the way of two people who are approximately equidistant from something and will either introduce themselves or avoid each other indefinitely. "Your lamp," he said. "The outlet," I said. "I think it's not." He came over, he looked at the power strip, he flipped the switch on the strip itself. The lamp came on. I had not checked the power strip. He looked at me. Not unkindly. "I'm Ryan," he said. "Sam," I said. "The lamp was always there," he said. "I know that now," I said. He went back to his room. I sat at my desk with the lamp on and thought, that person is either going to be the best or the worst part of living here. He was the best. Freshman year, the friendship establishing itself with the specific speed of proximity and compatibility. We had different majors, he was in computer science, I was in literature, but the same taste in films and the same quality of finding the right things funny and the same instinct for coffee at wrong hours. I told him I was gay in November of freshman year. He said, "I know." I said, "How?" He said, "You wrote a personal essay for the student paper about being LGBTQ+ in your hometown." I had forgotten I had done that. He said it mattered, the essay. He said it had helped him understand something about a friend back home who he had not understood before. He said it the way people say things that are important to them about other people. I thought about the friend back home for a while. I stopped thinking about the friend back home. Sophomore year, the friendship deepening through the specific mechanism of difficult moments. My grandmother died in February. He drove me to the airport at 4 in the morning without being asked. We sat in his car in the departure drop-off lane for 20 minutes while I held myself together, and he did not fill the silence with anything except his presence. That was the night I understood that the person in 311 was not the same as previous best friends. Was something more in the specific way of someone who had become structurally necessary. Junior year, the first time I almost said something I should not have said. A party in April, both of us slightly less sober than usual, and he had said something about how he would never find what he was looking for, and I had said, "I know what you're looking for." And he had looked at me and I had said, "Someone who pays attention." And he had held my gaze for a moment and then he had said, "Yeah," and we had gone back to the party. I did not examine the moment. I had put it in the file that I kept for things I was not examining. Senior year, the filing system under stress. We had the same group of friends by this point, the same Friday evenings, the same campus geography. The friendship had become so woven into the daily life that removing it from the picture of my life produced something unrecognizable. He dated 3 relationships in 4 years, a woman named Lauren who lasted the better part of junior year, a brief thing with someone from his program in senior year, and after graduation a woman named Jessica who lasted 8 months. I watched these, I was supportive. I was the friend who heard about the relationships and their endings with the specific supportive presence of a best friend who was excellent at the role. The filing system held. After college, 2 years of being in the same city, Ann Arbor to Chicago, both of us arriving in the same calendar month through the coincidence of job offers that we had occasionally joked was the universe's opinion about something. Different apartments, 20 minutes apart. The same Friday evenings in a new city. The same 2 years more. September, 2 years after college graduation. We had planned a trip. Not a romantic trip. I want to be very clear about this, and I think the clarity matters to the story. It was not a romantic trip. It was the specific kind of trip that close friends plan when they have been saying we should get out of the city since June and September arrives and the summer is ending, and neither of them has done anything about the getting out of the city. Northern Michigan? A cabin. A friend of his from work who had a family property near Traverse City and who had offered it, a 2-bedroom cabin near the lake, 48 hours of outdoors and the specific quality of non-city air and whatever that does to you. We drove up on a Friday after our respective work days. The cabin was small, a kitchen and a living area and 2 bedrooms and a screened porch that faced the lake. The water at September was the specific color of September water in northern Michigan, not the summer blue, the autumn transition color, the one that was going darker toward winter. We made dinner, he cooked, I helped. This was the established division. He cooked better than me and we both knew it, and the dynamic had been established in the first semester of college and had not changed. We ate on the screen porch. The lake at dusk. This was a good idea, he said. It was your idea, I said. I said we should do this, he said. You actually did the planning. The planning was minimal, I said. Ask Kevin for the keys, drive north. You confirmed the directions, he said. You packed the cooler. You're giving me credit for ice, I said. Ice matters, he said. We ate. The lake going darker with the dusk. This was a thing I want to name clearly. The comfort. The specific quality of an evening with someone you have been spending evenings with for 7 years and with whom the comfort is complete because there is nothing left to manage. No performing, no calculation, just the lake and the dinner and the specific ease of someone who knows you all the way down. I was sitting on the screened porch of a cabin in northern Michigan watching the lake, as happy as I had been in recent memory. And underneath the happiness in the specific interior room where I had been keeping things for 7 years, something was pressing against the walls. The 2-bedroom cabin had 2 bedrooms. This was not an issue. Except that one of the bedrooms, when we went to use it, turned out to have a bed that was broken. Not dramatically broken. Functionally broken. The frame had developed a specific structural failure on one side that made the bed tilt at an angle that would make sleeping on it approximately equivalent to sleeping on a hill. Ryan stood in the doorway of the broken bed bedroom and looked at it. I stood beside him. "Oh," he said. "Oh," I said. We looked at the tilt. "The other bedroom," I said. "Has a queen," he said. "Yes," I said. "And the couch," he said. We both looked toward the living room. The couch was a love seat. "Is 4 feet long," I said. "Approximately," he said. We looked at each other. "Sam," he said. "I know," I said. "We have shared a bed before," he said, "the camping trip junior year. We were in sleeping bags," I said. "The principle is the same," he said. "The principle," I said. "We're adults," he said. "It's a queen bed. There is plenty of room for 2 adults who are not," he stopped. "Not what?" I said. "Not bothered by it," he said. I held the door frame. I was not bothered by it in the practical sense. I was an adult who had shared beds before in various non-romantic contexts and was capable of sleeping beside someone without it requiring any kind of management. I was, however, aware of the filing system and its contents. "Right," I said. "Fine." "Fine," he said. We went to bed at 11. The lake dark outside the cabin windows, the specific quiet of not city that was louder than city in its own way, the water sounds, the insects, the settling of the cabin. We were both on our respective sides. There was approximately 18 inches between us. I fell asleep faster than I expected. I woke up at 3 in the morning, not from a noise, not from anything external. The specific waking of someone whose interior is doing something their sleeping mind could not contain. I was awake and the cabin was dark and the lake was doing whatever lakes do at 3 in the morning, and Ryan was, I could hear him breathing. the specific breathing of someone in deep sleep. And I lay there in the queen bed in the cabin in northern Michigan, and I did something I had been not doing for 7 years. I looked at the filing system. I opened the drawer that I kept closed, and I looked at the contents. 7 years of things I had not been examining. The April party junior year, the airport at 4 in the morning, the dinner on the porch with the lake going dark. The specific comfort that was not just comfort, it was something else. It had always been something else, and I had called it friendship because friendship was the word available and the other word was not safe to use. And I lay there at 3 in the morning and I thought, I have been in love with my best friend since approximately sophomore year of college, and I have been managing it for 5 years. And I am 25 years old, and the management has cost me every relationship I have tried to have since, because every person I have been with has not been Ryan, and I knew that and did nothing about it. And I thought, what do I do with this? He was awake. I did not know when he woke. I had been lying still, managing the 3 in the morning interior inventory, when I became aware that the quality of his breathing had changed. The specific shift from deep sleep breathing to the lighter breath of consciousness. Sam, he said. Yeah, I said. Are you awake, he said. Yes, I said. How long, he said. A while, I said. We were quiet. The lake outside, the cabin settling. What are you thinking about, he said. I held the covers. The question I had been asked 100 times over 7 years. The honest answers I had and the versions of honest answers I gave. Things I said. That's not an answer, he said. I know, I said. He was quiet. Ryan, I said. Yeah. Can I ask you something, I said. Yes, I said. The friend from home, I said. The one you mentioned when I told you I was gay freshman year, you said my essay had helped you understand something about them. He was quiet. Yes, he said. What happened to them, I said. He was quiet for longer. We don't talk anymore, he said. After high school he paused. It wasn't the coming out that ended it, it was me not knowing how to receive what he told me. I was 17 and I did not have the vocabulary. I held the covers. What did he tell you, I said. He was quiet. That he had feelings for me, he said. I held the covers. The cabin, 3 in the morning. And you, I said. And I was 17, he said, and I did not have the vocabulary. And now, I said. He was quiet for a very long time. Now I am 25, he said, and I have been thinking about the vocabulary for approximately, he stopped. Ryan, I said. Give me a second, he said. I gave him a second. Several seconds. For approximately 3 years, he said, I have been thinking about a vocabulary that I did not have at 17. I held the covers. What vocabulary, I said. He was quiet. For things I feel, he said, that I have not had the right words for. I held the covers. Tell me, I said. Sam, he said. Tell me, I said. He held the covers. Do you remember the camping trip, he said, junior year? Yes, I said. I was in my sleeping bag, he said, and you were in yours, and it was 3 in the morning and you were asleep and I was awake and he stopped. What, I said. I was aware of you, he said, in the specific way that is different from being aware of someone in the general sense. I held the covers. Ryan, I said. And the airport, he said, your grandmother, I drove you at 4 in the morning, and in the car in the drop-off lane I wanted to, he stopped. What, I said. I wanted to tell you to stay, he said, not because you shouldn't go, because I did not want you to be somewhere I was not. He held the covers. And I thought, that is not what you think when your friend is going to a family emergency, that is something else. I held the covers. Ryan, I said. I know, he said, I know what you're going to say. I have been straight my whole life. I have dated women, I have. That's not what I'm going to say, I said. He was quiet. What are you going to say, he said. I held the covers. I'm going to say that orientation is not always a single fixed point, I said. That some people spend their lives thinking they are one thing and discover they are more than one thing or a different thing than they thought. That the vocabulary available to a 17-year-old is different from the vocabulary available at 25. I held the covers. I'm going to say that the things you're describing, the camping trip, the airport, I noticed them. I filed them. I told myself they were friendship because friendship was the word available. He was very still. You noticed, he said. I have been noticing for 7 years, I said. He held the covers. Sam, he said. Yeah. I need to say something, he said. Say it, I said. He held the covers. I have been in relationships with women, he said. Real relationships, Lauren, Jessica, and I cared about them, genuinely, and none of them, he stopped. None of them what, I said. None of them knew me the way you know me, he said. I kept thinking that's friendship, that's the kind of knowing that friendship produces, that the relationship and the friendship are different kinds of knowing. He held the covers. And then I started wondering if the knowing was the thing, not the label on the relationship, the knowing. I held the covers. What does the knowing feel like? I said. He was quiet. Like being in a car at 4 in the morning and not wanting you to go, he said. Like 7 years of wanting to be wherever you are, he held the covers. Like 3 in the morning in a cabin in Michigan realizing that the reason I suggested this trip was not the cabin. I held the covers. Why did you suggest the trip? I said. He held the covers. Because I wanted 48 hours with you without the city in the way, he said. Without work and the Friday evenings and the group and he stopped. Without everything that gave me a reason to not say this. I held the covers. 3 in the morning, I said. Yes, he said. In a cabin with a broken bed, I said. Yes, he said. Which you knew about before we drove 4 hours, I said. He was quiet. Kevin mentioned it, he said. Kevin mentioned the broken bed, I said. In passing, he said. Ryan, I said. Yes, he said. You knew about the broken bed, I said. I was not engineering anything, he said. I was creating conditions where a conversation might happen. I held the covers. You created conditions, I said. Yes, he said. Jordan facilitated conditions, I said. You created them. He was quiet. Who is Jordan, he said. No one, I said. Never mind. He held the covers. Sam, he said. Yeah. Say the thing, he said, whatever the thing is that you have been not saying. I held the covers. I had been not saying it for 5 years. The filing system, the management, the specific discipline of someone who had decided that the friendship was more valuable than the risk of the true thing. I love you, I said. Not the friendship version, both versions. The friendship version is real and I am not separating them, but I love you in the other version too, since sophomore year, since the February you drove me to the airport. He held the covers. He was quiet. February, he said. Yes, I said. 5 years, he said. 5 years, I said. I have been the reason 5 years of the thing you just said was not available to you, he said. No, I said, I made the choice to file it, you didn't make me do that. But if I had, he stopped. If you had what, I said. If I had known, he said, or been honest with myself earlier. Earlier might not have been the right time, I said. You might have been 17 with no vocabulary or 21 with insufficient vocabulary. Sometimes the time is the time. He held the covers. 3 in the morning, he said, in a cabin in Michigan. In a cabin with a broken bed, I said. That you didn't know about, he said. That you didn't engineer, I said. No, he said, I created conditions, the broken bed was genuine. I held my covers. Ryan, I said. Yeah. What do you want, I said, not what you think I need to hear, what do you want? He held the covers. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, you, since the airport in February of sophomore year, I just did not have the language. I held the covers. You have it now, I said. Yes, he said. Then say it, I said. He held the covers. I love you, he said, in both versions, the one I have been calling friendship for 7 years and the other one that I have been not calling anything because I did not have the vocabulary. He held the covers. I love you, both. The cabin, the lake, 3 in the morning. Ryan, I said. Yeah. What happens now, I said. He was quiet. I don't know, he said, I have never, he stopped. I know, I said. I need, he stopped again. Time, I said. Not because I'm not sure, he said, because I want to be. Honest with yourself, I said, rather than honest with me about what you think I need. Yes, he said. I know, I said. He held the covers. Sam, he said. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere, he said. This is not, he stopped. Not what, I said. Not a 3 in the morning thing that becomes a morning after thing that becomes a regret, he said. I have been building to this conversation for 3 years. The 3 in the morning is just when the building finished. I held the covers. Okay, I said. Okay, he said. We were quiet. The lake. The cabin. Ryan, I said. Yeah. The lamp, I said. He was quiet. What, he said. Freshman year, I said. The lamp. The power strip, he said. Yes, I said, you fixed it in 30 seconds, and I thought, that person is going to be either the best or the worst part of living here. He was quiet. Which was I, he said. The best, I said, obviously the best. He held his covers. Sam, he said. Yeah. Go to sleep, he said, we'll talk in the morning. Okay, I said. Really talk, he said, not 3 in the morning talk, morning talk. I know the difference, I said. Good night, he said. Good night, Ryan, I said. We slept. Morning came in through the lake-facing windows with the specific quality of September morning light in northern Michigan, the kind that is golden before it becomes the day's regular light, the kind that lasts approximately 20 minutes before the sky commits to its full brightness. I was awake before him. I lay in the morning light and I looked at the ceiling of the cabin and I did not manage anything. I did not file anything. I simply lay there in the altered version of the world that 3 in the morning had produced, and I thought about the 7 years. About the specific weight of 7 years of knowing someone and the things that knowing accumulates, and I thought about what he had said, the airport, the camping trip, 3 years of vocabulary building, and I thought whatever the morning produces, it will be the true thing, not the managed version. The vocabulary exists now and the words have been said, and whatever comes after the saying is going to be the real version of something rather than the carefully maintained surface of something. And then he moved beside me, and he was awake, and he said good morning, and I said good morning, and we lay in the September lake light and the morning was exactly as different as I had hoped it would be. Good morning, he said. Good morning, I said. The lake light. We lay in the September morning, and neither of us rushed anything. How are you, he said. How am I said, that is a large question for 7:30. It's 9:15, he said. I looked at the window, the light was further along than I had calculated. How are you, I said. He held the covers. Clear, he said. Clear, I said. Yes, he said, like something that was unclear has been clarified. He held the covers. I thought the morning might feel different from 3 in the morning, that the 3 in the morning version of things might look different in daylight. Does it, I said. No, he said, it looks the same, more clear. I held the covers. Ryan, I said. Yeah. The thing you said last night, I said, about orientation, about not having had the vocabulary, I want to ask you about that. Ask, he said. Have you ever, I paused, before the 3 years of vocabulary building, have you ever had feelings for a man other than, I stopped. Other than you, he said. Yes, I said. He held the covers. Not that I acknowledged, he said. In retrospect, I think there were things I was not acknowledging, the friend from home, a person in my program at Michigan, the specific quality of some friendships that was, he paused, more than the surface of the friendship. And you filed them, I said. He looked at me. Yes, he said, I filed them. I held the covers. We have both been filing things, I said. Yes, he said. I think we may have been filing some of the same things, I said. He held the covers. Yes, he said. I held the covers. What do you need, I said, from today, from this morning, going forward? He held the covers. I need to understand what I am, he said, not for your benefit, for mine. I have been calling myself straight for 25 years and the calling of myself straight was accurate for some of it and not for other parts, and I want to understand the full picture. He held the covers. I need time to understand, which is not the same as not being sure of what I feel. I know, I said. You know the difference, he said. Yes, I said, the feeling and the understanding of the feeling are different things. The feeling is real before the understanding arrives. He held the covers. Yes, he said. I held the covers. Ryan, I said. Yeah. There's no rush, I said. I have been managing this for 5 years. The management was not comfortable, but it was possible. I am not going to collapse if you need time. He held the covers. I am not asking for unlimited time, he said. I am not, he stopped. I am not asking you to wait for me to finish a process that might take years. I know what I feel. I am asking for the space to understand it before I ask you to be part of the understanding. I held the covers. What does the space look like? I said. He held the covers. Like today, he said, finishing the weekend, talking like this, going back to Chicago, and he paused. And I said, and having a conversation with someone who can help me understand the vocabulary, he said. I have a therapist. She's been helping me with the general weight of things. I think I need to tell her about this specific weight. Yes, I said. And I think, he said, I need to not rush to a definition before I have finished understanding what the thing actually is. Yes, I said. And I think, he said, I need to know that what you told me last night is still true in the daylight. I held the covers. It is still true, I said. He held the covers. Okay, he said. Okay, I said. We got up. We made coffee. He cooked breakfast. And the morning was the morning, the specific, ordinary, extraordinary morning of a day after something significant. The same lake, the same cabin, the same two people, everything different. October, November, December. He was in therapy. He had told me this, not the details, not the content, but the fact. He was working through things, he was building vocabulary. We were the same, the Friday evenings, the 20-minute city that separated our apartments, the phone calls, the text chain that had been running for 7 years, and that continued. Something was different. Not absent, not withdrawn. Present in the specific way of something that had been said and was now part of the air between us rather than something being held back from the air. He was honest with me, not about the therapy, those were his words and his process, but honest in the daily sense. He said things he might have previously filed. He told me when something I said affected him rather than processing it privately. He asked for things he needed rather than managing without asking. I was honest with him the same way. The filing system was open, I did not put things in it. We did not define anything. But the conversation was different. In November, he told me about the friend from high school. His name had been Isaac. They had been close from 9th grade through the end of high school, and then Ryan had not known how to receive what Isaac told him, and Isaac had stopped trying. He had looked up Isaac in October, he told me. Isaac lived in Seattle now with a partner and a life that appeared from the outside to be full. How did that feel? I said. Like something I should have done differently, he said, and like being glad he found his person. He held his phone. I told my therapist about Isaac. What did she say? I said. She said, the vocabulary you didn't have at 17 is not something you could have learned on demand, he said. She said, the question is what you do with the vocabulary you have now. What did you say? I said. He held his phone. I said I was working on it, he said. I held my coffee. Are you? I said. Yes, he said. December, 3 months after the cabin. We were at his apartment, Friday evening, the same Friday evening, different quality. He had made dinner, we were at the table. He said, I want to tell you something. Tell me, I said. He held his fork. I have been working, he said, the therapy, the understanding. He held his fork. And I understand now, not completely, the understanding is ongoing, but I understand the vocabulary. I held my fork. Tell me the vocabulary, I said. He held his fork. I am bisexual, he said. That is the word that fits the full picture, not the only word. There may be more specific words as the understanding develops, but bisexual is accurate. He held his fork. I have been bisexual my whole life. I have been calling myself straight because the available vocabulary at each stage of my life was insufficient. He held his fork. My therapist helped me understand that the relationships with women were real. That caring about Lauren and Jessica was genuine, that none of that is canceled by the understanding of the fuller picture. I held my fork. No, I said, it isn't. And the fuller picture, he said, includes what I told you in September. In a cabin with a broken bed, I said. He almost smiled. In a cabin with a broken bed, he said. That you knew about, I said. That I knew about, he said. I held my fork. Ryan, I said. Yeah. Thank you, I said. For what? He said. For the 3 months, I said, for doing it correctly, for being honest with yourself before being honest with me. He held his fork. It mattered, he said, doing it correctly. I did not want to tell you something because I felt it and then discover I was wrong about what it meant. And now, I said. Now I am not wrong about what it means, he said. I held my fork. What does it mean, I said. He held his fork. He put it down. He looked at me. That I love you, he said, not the managed version, the full version, both the 7 years of it and he stopped. The what, I said. The rest of it, he said, whatever comes after December. I held my fork. What do you want to come after December, I said. He held my gaze. You, he said, specifically, in the version where neither of us is filing anything. I held my fork. I put it down. Ryan, I said. Yeah. I love you, I said, the full version, 7 years of it and the rest of it. He held my gaze. The rest of it, he said. Yes, I said. That's a long time, he said. Yes, I said. Are you prepared for a long time, he said. I have been in it for 7 years already, I said. He held my gaze. Something in his face. The specific quality of someone who has been building toward a moment and has arrived at it and is now simply in it. Sam, he said. Yeah. The lamp, he said. Yes, I said. I flipped the switch and I thought, this person is going to be important, he said. That's not what you said, I said, you just fixed the lamp and introduced yourself. I was 19, he said, I had not developed the vocabulary for important yet. I held his gaze. And now, I said. Now I have the vocabulary, he said, and you are the most important person in my life, and I would like the definition of the relationship to reflect that. I held his gaze. What definition, I said. He held my gaze. Whatever the right one is, he said. I do not have a word for what you are to me, best friend is the closest, but it is not the whole of it, it never was. No, I said, it never was. Sam, he said. Yeah. Can I ask you something, he said. Yes, I said. The friend I mentioned freshman year, he said, Isaac. Yes, I said. You said you thought about him, he said, after I mentioned him. Yes, I said. Why, he said. I held his gaze. Because I thought maybe he was the one you actually, I stopped. What, he said. The one you actually felt things for, I said, and that the feelings you mentioned were about him, generalized. He held my gaze. No, he said. No, I said. Isaac was the first time I understood that the vocabulary I had was insufficient, he said. You are the reason the vocabulary building mattered. I held his gaze. Ryan, I said. Yeah. Come here, I said. He came. He sat beside me rather than across the table, the specific crossing of the table that had separated us for the whole of the December dinner. Hi, he said. Hi, I said. 7 years, he said. 7 years, I said. And a cabin, he said. And a cabin, I said. And a broken bed that you did not engineer, I said. That I did not engineer, he said. And 3 months of vocabulary building, I said. And 3 months, he said. He held my gaze. What comes now, he said. Now we find out, I said, the rest of it. The rest of it, he said. Starting with the Friday evenings, I said, which are not going to be different. No, he said, they are not going to be different. Except, I said. Except, he said. They are going to be the real version, I said. Yes, he said. No filing, I said. No filing, he said. I looked at him. 7 years, 2 people in a college hallway, a lamp and a power strip, the airport at 4 in the morning, a camping trip in sleeping bags, an April party, the specific accumulated weight of 7 years of knowing someone the way you know the most important person in your daily life. And 3 months of vocabulary. In December. Ryan, I said. Yeah. I love you, I said. I love you too, he said. Both versions, I said. Both versions, he said, and the rest of it. March. 6 months after the cabin. His parents. He had told them in January, not the full history, the necessary part, that he was bisexual, that he was in a relationship with a man. His mother had needed time. His father had been quieter about the processing but consistent in the love. He had told me about the conversation afterward, not the details but the quality of it, that his parents loved him, that the love was larger than the surprise. He also told me about calling Isaac. He had found him through the Seattle address, had gotten his number from a mutual friend from high school. Isaac had been gracious. More than gracious, the specific graciousness of someone who had made a full life and who received the call with the warmth of someone who had no unresolved bitterness, only the specific warmth of being seen for having been affected. He said he was glad I called, Ryan told me. What did you say? I said. I said I should have called 9 years ago, he said. I said I was sorry for not having the vocabulary. What did he say? He said. He said, vocabulary is learned, don't apologize for the learning, apologize for what you could have done differently with the vocabulary you had. I held my coffee. He's wise, I said. Yes, he said. And now, I said. Now we are not close, he said. He has a life and I have a life, but the conversation happened and the thing that needed to be said was said. He held his coffee. I told my therapist, she said, that was a significant piece of the work. I held my coffee. Are you still in therapy? I said. Yes, he said, the understanding is ongoing. Good, I said. She is encouraging me to find community, he said. The bisexual community specifically, to find the specific vocabulary of other people who have had this specific experience. Have you? I said. I've been reading, he said. There are specific stories, the specific experience of coming to understand bisexuality later in life, of spending years thinking you are one thing and discovering you are more complex. He held his coffee. It is not isolating to read those stories. I held my coffee. No, I said. You've read them too, he said. I have been out for 6 years, I said. I read them early when I was figuring out my own vocabulary. He held his coffee. What helped? He said. Other people's honesty, I said. Specifically the honesty of people who had been through something and had written it down, the knowledge that the specific thing you are experiencing is not singular, that it has been experienced before. That other people survived the vocabulary building and arrived somewhere. He held his coffee. Where did they arrive? He said. I looked at him. Here, I said, different versions of here, but here. He held his coffee. He looked at me. Sam, he said. Yeah. I arrived here, he said. Yes, I said. With the vocabulary, he said. With the vocabulary, I said. He held his coffee. The rest of it, he said. The rest of it, I said. The cabin again. His idea this time, no pretense of the friend from work, his own rental booked properly with 2 bedrooms and both beds functional. We drove up on a Friday. The lake in June was different from the lake in September. The summer water, the summer light, the specific quality of a northern Michigan June that was the fullest version of itself. We made dinner. The screen porch. The lake. Last September, he said. Yes, I said. I drove for 4 hours with a plan, he said. A plan involving a broken bed, I said. A plan involving creating conditions, he said. Ryan, I said. Yeah. You drove 4 hours and created conditions for a conversation you could have had any Friday evening in Chicago, I said. Yes, I said. Why? I said. He held his fork. He looked at the lake. Because the city has layers, he said, the work and the Friday evenings and the group and the years of established patterns, and I needed something without the layers. He held his fork. I needed the lake. I held mine. The lake, I said. Yes, he said. And now you have booked the lake again, I said. Now we are at the lake, he said, without the conditions, without the broken bed. And without the filing system, I said. Without the filing system, he said. I held my fork. Ryan, I said. Yeah. Thank you for the conditions, I said, the September version with the broken bed. He held his fork. Thank you for the airport, he said, February of sophomore year, for giving me the specific moment I would carry for 5 years. I held my fork. What specifically about the airport? I said. He held his fork. The 30 minutes in the drop-off lane, he said. You were holding yourself together, and I wanted to do something and I didn't know what to do and I thought I will just be here. And being here was apparently the right thing because you let out one breath that was the most specific breath I had ever heard. I held my fork. I remember that breath, I said. I have remembered it for 5 years, he said. I held my fork. Ryan, I said. Yeah. The lake, I said. Yes, he said. This is a very good lake, I said. He held his fork. He looked at the lake. Yes, he said, it is. We ate. The lake going golden with the summer evening. His hand on the table. My hand on the table. The specific distance between them that was not 3 feet and not 18 inches and was simply the distance of 2 hands on a table in the summer light. I put my hand over his. He turned his hand over. He held mine. The lake, the June evening, the screened porch of a cabin in northern Michigan with 2 functional beds that neither of us was going to sleep in separately. 7 years. 1 vocabulary. The rest of it.